Hey guys, I am doing a coaching session with Matt here. Matt is playing on EU West in Plat 5, I think you said, or is it Plat 1?
Plat 5 at the moment.
Okay, so you're playing Singed versus Riven. Going into this game, what are your current thoughts about how you're going to play?
Well, usually I try and go in for a proxy, like level 1, pretty much every time.
Okay.
But it depends. Usually I go for this really cheesy path. You'll see me do it like right about now. Everyone expects you to go in through the top side over there.
Yeah.
But I walk into that brush, get the vision, make sure no one's there, and then I go into here. And the good thing about this is if there's anyone in any of these brushes,
30 seconds until minions spawn.
so you can actually have a chance to reposition yourself, maybe go in for a proxy above, or just kind of get out of there.
So that for some reason the dragon counter is bugged up here, and it's showing dragons, probably because I was messing around with the replay earlier, but
Yeah,
not
maybe.
the biggest thing in the world. One thing to remember if you're going for a level 1 proxy this way is a lot of people don't really recognize the fact that you can just stand up here and wait to go in. And for that reason, they like to pile up in here sometimes. In higher yellow, it happens a lot where you'll walk into 4 or 5 people standing right there and have them collapse on you. Talking about the level 1 proxy specifically, you can stand up here and wait until like 120 even, then just walk around, and you can like, yeah, you'll get the attention of the enemy top laner, but you can like proxy the first wave here, then the second wave over here, or the third wave over here, and the second wave over here, and warding in between over here in between waves. It's just a matter of preference, really. This one I think is a bit of a riskier entrance in the higher elo, but if they're not waiting for you, then it's potentially the better entrance if you're going for the level 1 proxy.
Yeah.
Another thing, I think, versus Riven, I know you said that you don't like to lane that much when we were talking before.
I know I'm very strong against Riven. I know.
Gotcha, yeah.
I simply prefer not to.
Okay. You can, with practice, you can kind of, I had said this in the video with Chimso, but you can let her like kind of push into you and then just freeze it over here and then go for flings into your tower and stuff like that. It's not necessarily like a bad thing if you're going for the full level 1 proxy. Okay, so you're channeling recall just in case you need to actually do it. Okay, I gotcha.
Or
it's not a bad thing.
Someone
in case what?
put some really bad, and they think, oh no, he's recalling, I'm not going to go bother chasing him.
Oh, okay, yeah, I gotcha. You're lagging a little bit, but I got the gist of what you said. I think the level 1 proxy is not like, if you can get 3 waves, yeah, it's still good. It's not a bad thing, but you can potentially have more benefit from freezing the lane on Riven and like trying to get a kill on her under tower, but it's not a bad thing if you can get the 3 waves. So your first items, you backed about a Doran's Ring and a control ward. That's fine, I think.
That's a standard thing for me.
Okay, I gotcha. That's fine. Doran's Ring plus Dark Seal I think is perfectly okay on Singe, especially if you're gonna be proxying a lot, which you are. Which means that you need the mana regen.
Especially with the spell vamp frequency. As soon as I get this, I start actually healing from the waves now.
Yep, absolutely, because you have a lot more mana to play around with and you have more AP, which means more damage over a shorter time, more healing.
Oh, something I discovered, by the way. The thing that builds into Thornmail.
Bramble Vest.
Very good with spell vamp because it's single target damage.
Yeah, it gives magic damage and synergizes with spell vamp. So right here... Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, never mind. I thought my screen went black, but it didn't.
So right here, you get a Goofling onto Mastery. I think this is good. And then Riven comes down, you Ghost after Yi. I think you get the kill here, I'm assuming you do.
I'm not sure. Yeah, no, I definitely get the kill.
Okay, so that's good, and then you guys also get the kill on Riven. I like what you did here with the pink ward. I think that's a very good pink ward to put down when you're proxying.
No one ever checks that brush in plat. Yep. No one ever does.
Especially early game. They might find it late game, but no one checks it early game, especially.
Yeah.
And then with your Doran's Ring, you're able to walk back up here and have a little bit of mana to keep pushing. You're standing a bit. This right here can be a little bit risky because
no, I die right here because
I
thought, for some reason, I thought I had enough mana to put my W down.
Okay.
But then I realized that I was completely retarded, and I didn't.
Gotcha. So what you kind of want to keep in mind there is that Riven never used teleport because she never recalled, right? So if she does teleport, you have to watch your mana, watch your health. Even if, like, personally, even if I had mana to W, I would not have stayed because she can, like, just keep right-clicking on the ground and walking with you. And then after she's out of your grounded, just use her abilities to kill you. Because she still had, wait, did she have Flash there? I'm not sure, did she?
I'm not sure. I don't think she used Flash, from my knowledge at least.
I don't think she did either. I think she used it before. Whenever, yeah, she used it before. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
I didn't notice her use it there. I didn't actually keep that in mind.
Yeah. Not the biggest deal in the world to die there since you already have a kill, but now you're even with her instead of being ahead. I like the double cloth armor into Bramble Vest. Bramble Vest is good versus their team because they have Riven and Master Yi.
Vest in the end.
You didn't?
No.
Okay. So I'm assuming this build is in like Tabby or like the Raptor Cloak, something like that.
I think I get Tab. I can't actually remember what I get, man.
Okay.
I'll have to see later.
Gotcha, no problem. Bramble Vest, I'm looking at their team and I'm thinking that's a team that I want Bramble Vest versus. They have 3 auto attackers. Well, I guess Riven's not like the biggest auto attacker, but she still auto attacks in between abilities, so it's useful versus her.
Her passive has a lot of damage that Ninja Tabi blocks, doesn't she?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah. But it's Yi, especially.
Yeah, it's very good versus Yi and Caitlyn. What you just did there is pretty good. I think Jarvan was a little premature in EQing. That's not really your fault that she got, or I guess she escapes. So yeah, so she escapes there. Not really your fault there, I don't think. Jarvan was a little bit premature with his EQ. He's spam picking. Okay, that's, yeah. Something like that you can't really control if people don't understand that, hey, if you walk up to someone, you're probably going to want to fling them. That's whenever you get to higher elo, people will recognize it a bit more, but in lower elo,
it's Riven, so I really don't want it to get away with it.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think that you played that incorrectly there. I just think that Jarvan was a little premature. Okay, so right here you want to be really careful because she just hit 6. She has the ability to all-in you if she decides, and you don't have 6. I'm not sure if she does or not.
I'm a lot stronger than her, though. But I do make a very stupid play here.
Okay.
And... wait, was it now? I'm not sure. I think I dive her at some point and I die. But it's Riven.
I'm not seeing how... well, maybe you do here in a second, but this right here is fine. Whenever you were trading with her, even though you were 5 and she was 6, you had a big creep wave, and if she was to all-in you, she wouldn't have done enough damage to you in time to kill you whenever you had your poison and all those minions. Walking past was a little bit risky because you walked past here, just because you would have been under tower.
I saw Yi down mid lane, and I knew he was going bot side.
Gotcha. Regardless, it's still a little bit risky. If the Riven was aware of how much mana you had at the time, she would have been able to all-in you under her tower because you either had enough mana to fling or you had enough mana to poison for a bit and auto attack. You couldn't really do both. I mean, we can even... here, let me go back and watch, actually. So I'm curious exactly how much mana you had. So we're pushing into Riven here. Okay, so you had 71 mana. You actually didn't even have mana to fling, and your fling was on cooldown. So if she was to all-in you there, it would have been pretty bad for you. Because you would have had to wait for your fling, and then you used poison, which means that you definitely wouldn't have had mana to fling. You're kind of defenseless at that point with no ultimate mana and no fling mana. If she was to all-in you there with her level 6, even though she's low, she probably would have been able to kill you. Maybe go 1 for 1 if you just auto-attack her with poison, but it's definitely a kill that she could have gotten, so just something to be aware of whenever you're versus level 6 Riven. With no mana, you need mana to be able to peel her off of you.
Alright.
This is fine because you saw, like you said, you saw Yi going towards mid, so you know that you have the freedom to proxy this wave. You can sustain with spell vamp. This is fine.
Thinking back to it, I should have backed right about now, but I'm not sure if I do.
Did you not back here?
I'm not sure. I think I do.
I'm hoping you backed here.
Yeah, because
okay, so you did. That's fine.
Yeah, I saw the Riven was missing, and I just continued my recall.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was thinking Yi's probably topside or something by now.
Okay, so I think right here, is there a reason that you're waiting in base, or are you waiting for gold? Or?
I think I'm waiting for an item, or I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, you're waiting for 500 gold for Tabby. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
but I do have a habit of kind of sitting in base and trying to figure out my build before I bat.
Gotcha. So you have like, you're around like 400. I'm assuming 480 gold whenever you recalled. You could have finished your Bramble Vest there. It is a 400 gold combined cost now instead of 300 gold combined cost. So even with having that much gold, you still had enough to combine for Bramble Vest, and that would have been really, really good to have versus that team. Tabby is okay, but Tabby is more effective when you have more levels and more health. Like, if it's like a Jace and you need the movement speed that you're playing, like a Jace matchup and you need movement speed to like get past him or catch him and stuff like that, I would understand going Tabby first. But with it being Riven and her being a melee range champion, I'm gonna pause it actually. With her being Riven and her being a melee range champion, you don't really need that much movement speed versus her. Like Tabby is fine, you get the percent reduction, but percent reduction is really more effective whenever you have more health. If you had something like Bramble Vest, you'd have the same amount of armor, but you'd also be able to hit her back with that while she's like spamming her abilities and auto attacks on you. And the movement speed is not as important versus her. So Bramble Vest also really good versus E, really good versus Caitlyn on their team. I can see why you went Tabby, not the worst decision. If this was like season or like before the Bramble Vest patch, this would have been completely okay. But with Bramble Vest existing in the state that it does currently, I can't really justify not having it at this state versus that team.
Yeah, okay.
Want to rewind a little bit and highlight this trade. So I've noticed that a lot of the time whenever you're trading, maybe this is just like because of your laning anxiety, but whenever you're trading with Riven, you wait to put your poison on. If you're going to fling, you should have your poison on beforehand regardless, because you missed a few ticks of poison right there at the start. Like, she could have had a little bit more damage on her. Like, instead of 871 health, she would have been like 840. Like, not the biggest deal in the world, but it would have been enough to like make a difference, you know?
Yeah.
That fling in the tower, really good, just running around, spreading poison. I like this. You missed a W, but I think you probably still got the kill here. Yeah, this seems like
no,
a pretty
this is
easy
where
kill.
I dive her and die.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
let's see.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh, she turns in with the ultimate. Okay, I see.
It was a stupid dive. I just thought that because Jarvan was there.
Yeah, gotcha.
But he does get the kill in the end, so it's okay. And
That's
she
weird.
loses a lot of CS here.
Yeah, okay. So that's decent. Let me rewind a bit and see. This is also a kill, by the way, that you would have gotten over here if you had Bramble Vest. She would have died over there because she auto-attacked you a few times.
Yeah.
Something to consider.
I think I definitely need to think about my build path more.
I'm just trying to watch this again, and yeah, build path definitely something needs work. So she had her ultimate up, but she's waiting for you. Okay, I see. So she closes distance with her Q. Yeah, okay, so that's just basically her outplaying you there. But if you had Bramble Vest, then she would have died up here because she got away on like 30 health, which is 1 auto attack or 2 auto attacks in Bramble Vest, but she autoed you like 7 or 8 times in that fight.
Yeah.
Not the worst death in the world. I think that you still have a pretty clear advantage in this lane. And I can see why you went for the dive with you having Tabby and your ultimate up. But she just kind of outplayed you, and sometimes that's going to happen.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting her to use her Q first before her stun, and then I could cancel it with my E.
Yeah, I gotcha. So you recall after you died, you bought Raptor Cloak. Is there a reason you're going for ZZ'Rot right now?
I'm thinking that because Fizz and Jhin are kind of ahead, I'm more useful in a utility position.
Okay.
And like pushing waves from the side. But like this is another thing that I was pointing out. I probably would have been better off with.
That was a good goopling.
Yeah, I'm fairly decent with gooplings, but with thinking back to it, I should have gone for something like Righteous Glory, which would be a lot more useful for utility.
I agree. If you're wanting to go for a utility
I'm
build,
very experimentative and over-experimentative. I didn't mention it in my notes.
I got you. Yeah. I don't think that like Raptor Cloak is the worst item in the world. Like it let you catch Orianna right there. I just think that
I like it because I can just run around.
Yeah, I just feel like that, you know, maybe ZZ'Rot having it that early is not the most important thing in the world, because, you know, your team is ahead, and when your team is ahead, you can group on your teammates to try and win. And if you're grouping on your teammates, then ZZ'Rot is not the most important thing in the world, especially with something like Rift Herald existing. If you have Rift Herald, someone on your team, and you're grouping with them, then it kind of cancels the need to have ZZ'Rot to be able to push a tower safely, because ZZ'Rot essentially does what Rift Herald does, except like worse. In a situation like this, if you consider the fact that, you know, you're not exactly like behind Riven, she's not exactly ahead because you're ahead in CS and like you have her tower and stuff like that, what is something to consider is that you could have just gone an AP Bruiser build, and I advocate for that a lot, is I think Rylai's here would have been really good.
With the spell vamp, because it's useful.
Just having the extra damage I think would be really good, because, you know, your team's ahead. If you group on them with the Rylai's like right now, then you probably just destroy the team fight and win the game at 20 minutes. Yeah, Rylai's not that great versus Master Yi, but on Singe, it's still a really good Singe item. And if you had like Rylai's, Tabby Bramble Vest instead of Tabby ZZ'Rot, and I'm not sure what your next item is, but instead of Tabby ZZ'Rot and whatever that next item is, you had, Rylai's Bramble Vest and Tabby, then you would have been able to tank a lot of their damage. Your only real threat would have been Orianna, who would be able to damage you. You do a lot more damage to them. The Raptor Cloak never really helped you push this tower, which is the most important one. Raptor Cloak didn't really help you to push this tower here either, except the fact that it helped you catch Orianna. So, yeah, I mean, it kind of did, like, help you take the tower, but it didn't help you directly push it,
Yeah.
Is ZZ'Rot something that you commonly go a lot, or?
No. I'd say the most common item that I, at least used to go for before going for AP recently, was Warmogs.
Okay.
And
just straight up first item?
Yes, and I'll explain why, because I know I don't get the passive straight away, but I went for it because I didn't know there was the spell vamp thing.
Okay.
But it really helps with proxying. In fact, as soon as I get that passive, I can actually start double proxying, and it's really strong.
Okay.
But yeah, all I have to do is get to level 13 or level 14 with Warmogs and a giant spell, and then I have the passive at 3,751 HP. It's really
so you need 2,750 HP to start proccing your Warmogs. And you said you get what, 3,200 HP? With that build. You need 2,750 HP for the Warmog's passive to activate.
Yeah, but you get 2,751, which it bothers me because there's like that one extra HP.
I gotcha. It seems a little bit odd to me. Like I can see the appeal of it because it lets you double proxy. Double proxy by itself it's very risky.
I'll only have a double proxy when it doesn't affect my laner, so it allows them to gank bot and stuff.
Gotcha.
Only when they kind of.
Personally, I feel like proxying is something that you only really need to do early game to be able to get through lanes, and then after that, you really want to group and team fight. And early Warmogs, it's just pure health. Like you'd even outside of Warmogs, you might even be better just going like Dead Man's Plate or something. It gives less HP, but it gives a lot more armor. It gives movement speed. But even better than that, I think would just be to go AP items or something like that, like a Rylai's or even Leandry's or something like that, which would give you the teamfight presence. Because just having Rylai's, I mean, sorry, not Rylai's, just having Warmogs, you're not very much of a threat, Like, yeah, your team is kind of fed, but you're not exactly gaining a whole lot from building utility in this current like metagame for Singe, because one, his Q ratio was nerfed. His Q ratio was increased, but the base damage was nerfed, which means not having AP items is a lot less viable than before, because you don't have damage from your Q base like you used to be able to just building full tank, So it's a little bit less of an attractive option to me anyways, to not have any AP at all this early. Like, yeah, you have some with your Darksteel on Doran's Ring, but if you consider like slot efficiency and stuff like that, you're going to need to sell them eventually to have more items, and then once you do that, you're actually going to have a weaker Q than before, which is kind of crazy considering that you're getting your level higher and higher, but your Q is going to get weaker eventually when you buy more items. So it just seems a little bit odd.
Yeah.
This is a good dive, though. I think you're tanky enough to execute this dive, and then Fizz. Oh, did he actually back off? Not sure why he backed off. He could have killed her.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
I think it's because I actually think I flinged her away there. He might have gotten tilted from that.
I gotcha. That was a good kill by him. I don't think that was even your mistake. I think flinging her away was fine because he still had range to follow up on her, but he just kind of didn't. I think he was scared of Orianna.
Maybe he thought my Q would kill her.
Yeah. But another thing that's kind of important to highlight there is you don't have any extra HP, but you have the 55 armor from ZZ'Rot. You have the movement speed from it too, but instead of having that, you could have had 300 health from her Rylai's, and she would have died a lot sooner. The Orianna and Riven would have probably died there too, instead of like surviving and coming back in to do all this stuff. Because she lived on like pretty low HP, right? Yeah. So if you had just killed her back then you would have saved all of this. Like, yeah, you end up getting the kill, but that's not her, like, that's not you guys playing better than her. That's like her making a mistake and trying to fight you guys for some reason and then coming back in, and it's just a little bit messy. I can see the appeal of ZZ'Rot being like a 5th or 6th item, maybe even a 4th item, whenever you have the HP pool to back up the damage you get from it. But I don't think, like, as a very first item, it's super duper important, because all of this stuff that you're doing with your ZZ'Rot, you could have done more efficiently with having damage, or you could have even, like you said before, have an RG, and then essentially the same thing while having an item that's going to be a lot more beneficial to you early on in a wider variety of situations.
Okay.
Personally, I don't like RG, but I've talked about that before. I don't like it that much, but it's a better option, I think, than having ZZ'Rot this early.
Yeah.
So you guys are up a lot of kills. I'm waiting to see when the turnaround happens. Okay, so that's a lot of damage on Caitlyn. I think you get out here. Okay, so yeah, you get out, and then she pops heal. Why'd you ultimate there?
Low HP, and I saw an opportunity to help.
Okay.
But I kind of panicked. I thought they'd need my help. Like maybe there were more people who were gonna engage or something.
Gotcha. Yeah. That Yi is very, very weak right now. He was 1 in 5 before the death. You could have saved the ultimate cooldown and. Well, I guess yeah, you could have saved it and had it up like longer for a more longer. Excuse me. You could have had it up for a longer duration here, and been able to stay in this fight a bit longer because your ultimate's down right now while you guys are like kind of diving the turret and stuff.
To be honest,
and then...
I should be backing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
I have a shitload of gold.
Yeah, you definitely should be backing. But in regards to that one little fight, like ultimate efficiency was pretty important there. Then actually, oh, he ends up actually respawning and killing. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's really unfortunate.
Right?
Oh, you might actually die there. Oh. No. Okay. Yeah, if you had some AP there, you would have died to the minions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just because he was taking a lot of damage. I think he lived on like 100 HP there, which is just like a few ticks of poison if you have AP. Because he doesn't really have that much MR right now, does he? He has...
I find that whenever I build like AP builds and stuff, I like, and my team even feeds just like a little bit to the jungler, they're able to just completely kill me very easily.
They could do that when you have ZZ'Rot too, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because...
But actually, the armor I get from that allows me, and the movement speed I get around the turrets, allows me to kind of get away from them and goofling them and just keep running on.
You don't have health, though. Versus better opponents who are able to keep up with you whenever you're kiting. Especially a Riven, who is a character that's really good at doing that. Yeah. The ZZ'Rot movement speed's not going to make that big of a difference. But health is like health is guaranteed.
Yeah, ZZ'Rot is, I basically never buy it at the moment. It's just probably like a one-time game.
Gotcha. Like right here, the ZZ'Rot can, at this stage in time, ZZ'Rot can seem justifiable because you guys have such a huge lead. But there have been a few instances in this game that might be where the throw starts. Yeah, right here. Fizz and Jin get caught. He's gonna die to Dot. Okay. Then Jarvan. Ooh. Yeah, there's a few instances that we already identified where you having like a Revitalize earlier would have just, you guys could have probably taken that inhibitor and just take that inhibitor and then group bottom and start sieging with Jin and Fizz. Jin and Fizz would have gotten caught because he would have been with them. This wave would have been pushing in, and then you just collapse on the bottom tower.
Teleported down there at this point.
You do have teleport. Let me
them,
rewind actually and see. Once more. Okay, so I don't think that...
No, I don't have my... Cool.
Okay, gotcha, yeah.
I thought it was up. There's like an icon in the way of like the thing.
This is just a really bad mistake by Fizz. He should not be playing like this in a 1v3. But if you consider like past events in this game, then they wouldn't have even had an opportunity to throw there if there was a larger lead gain by having early damage and a bit more like snowballiness in the top lane.
Yeah. I think there were plenty of opportunities where we could have ended this game by now.
Yeah.
I was to kind of spot like what I should be doing at the time.
Okay, so you go stun. I think this is a kill, right? This should be a kill.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. At this point, I would ping my team to group bottom because you'd see your entire team being bottom. Just ping the shit out of that tower and group to try and kill Kate. Oh, nice. That was a good fling. I noticed that your flings are really good. Your flings and your good flings are really good.
Dodging abilities and kind of just telling people to fuck off.
Yeah, that's really good. If you can combine that with like proper itemization and better map awareness, then I think that you'd be able to hit diamond really, really easily.
Okay.
This is really good. You can put your Rift Herald down here. I'm assuming you're going to put ZZ'Rot down too. Okay.
Yeah.
So just really, really fast towered.
I believe I go... Yeah, I stop attacking the turret so I can both zone them off and go for the other wave over here. And I'm going to pull it over to them and actually help them get the XP from it as well. So it benefits my team. Although that
was a good Colossus shield.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Right here, you guys should back out. Okay, that's fine. I'm really curious as to what exactly happens, because it seems like a very hard game to lose right now.
Yeah, I'm calling Baron because we've got the inhibitor, and we've got a ZZ up, and we've got like a kill. And we're going to bait here. I think we get a kill on Yi. I think we do this twice. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
I think it was a bit stupid of my team to continue the engage here. I think I wanted them to come back to Baron again.
Yeah, right here we should probably back off and do Baron, I think. Oh wow, that is a little ambitious by Fizz.
Yeah, it's just we don't have any ultimates because we use them, and
yeah. And you were pinging them to back and stuff like that, so that's not like the biggest thing in the world to lose Jenna there, but definitely should at least back at this point. I don't know if Baron is contestable now that Master Yi is up.
But this is where I tell him to camp in this bush again, and then Yi falls to the same mistake.
Oh, does he? Okay. Oh, there he is. Okay.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
So at this stage, Baron might be killable, but okay, I'm assuming you guys. Okay, so you guys do get Baron. I'm really curious as to what exactly happens this game. You use your ultimate to do Baron, not the. That's fine, I think. In this situation, you're gonna have it up pretty soon.
I also went out for the movement speed, so that if I do see them around, I can actually run and kind of zone them off the Baron.
Yeah. Ooh, this is something I never do. I never, even if I'm playing. Okay, you actually refunded it. Never mind. You got Warmogs. You bought a Mejai's and then you refunded it for a Warmogs.
Yeah. I was just thinking because I'm 8 and 3, and one of my deaths is an execute. I was thinking that maybe I could stay alive. And I've been sitting on 10 stacks for ages. I very rarely do it, but if I have got, or if I've consistently not died this many times, then.
Personally, I never ever go Mejai's just because it's such a risky item. I know certain players like Akilo do.
It makes you a target. And that's what I like about it, because you're singed. If they chase you, then it's wasting their time.
At the same time, you have to consider the amount of benefit you actually do get out of Mejai's. Whenever you have that, I think it's 15% movement speed, right? That you get from having it stacked up. In addition to the AP, it's not. It seems good on paper, but you already get so much movement speed from having your passive, and you already get so much movement speed from Ghost and Ultimate and stuff like that. The 15% is not going to help you a whole lot unless it's in like a passive situation where you're running back to lane. Then you can use the 50% movement speed the entire time. That's not really going to help you in a situation like a team fight where you're getting your passive up and you get diminishing returns on your movement speed. So as you get more and more stacks of your passive, what it does is you actually get less and less movement speed compared to what you should be getting, because it doesn't want you to get like 5,000 movement speed out of nowhere, which is why that 15% movement speed from Mejai's ends up meaning less than it really should on Singed. I want to rewind. Actually, I'm going to rewind and talk about your item choices here. In addition to the tower dive, I'll pause it here. Okay, so after you bought Rallies, you went for a Warmogs. What's your thought process here?
If I was to leave a skirmish with low health, which happened quite a few times this game, then if I can regenerate that HP from running away, then I can run back into that team fight like a few seconds later and try to, I don't know, win it.
Okay, not bad. Not a bad idea. I like that. Something I want to highlight though is you have Ocean Dragon, which is not going to be as nearly as much regen as Warmogs, but it's going to be enough. You have the 4% 1-stack Ocean Dragon, which it's actually really good. Because you can get it while you're farming, which you actually cannot do with Warmogs. If you're farming with Warmogs, it's gonna unproc and
for some reason I thought that was a Cloud Drake. I
gotcha.
should check that more often.
Yeah. So Warmogs, the instant you have even one Ocean Dragon, Warmogs becomes less important until the late game. If you get to late game and you need health, I think it's perfectly fine to buy Warmogs. At this stage, it would be probably better to have more damage.
Leanders.
Yeah, Leandries, or even something like Dead Man's Plate, maybe, to have movement speed and health. That way you wouldn't even need like any potential like Mejai's that we were talking about before.
Yeah.
And it would give you health too. It would give you armor versus that team, which has quite a bit of AD damage. I get that you have the armor from ZZ'Rot, but you have to consider on ZZ'Rot you have no health, and it's just this item is kind of throwing off your whole build, at least in my opinion, compared to what else you could have bought. Because if you didn't have ZZ'Rot, you would have been able to build like a Haunting Guise and have some extra damage, and then have like you would have had Haunting Guise, Blasting Wand. You wouldn't have had the full Leandries because it's 32 or 3100, but you would have had Haunting Guise and Blasting Wand. Probably sell like your Doran's Ring at that stage and have a Blasting Wand. I mean, there's a whole lot of things that you could have done that would have been more efficient, I think, than having ZZ'Rot. The Warmogs is not the worst choice at this stage, but having more damage, I think, is still beneficial. Just because you do have the Courage of the Colossus to have extra tankiness instead of needing an 800 health item, which is not bad, I think, but Courage of the Colossus really nullifies a lot of the need to have early HP. Like, you still want it to scale with the shield, but you don't need, like, a whole obscene amount. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you had Rallies and Leandries, then you could have been starting to build into that Dead Man's Plate. Like, maybe sell one of your other items and have Giant's Belt and Chain Vest. Then you would have been about this tanky, like maybe like 300 health less, 300, 200 health less, depending on... Wait, no, Giant's Belt gives about 400 health, so 800, so you had 400 less health, but you'd also have 300 extra health from Leandry, so you have 120 less. You have 120 less health, but about the same amount of tankiness because you have 50 armor from Chain Vest. You would have less magic resistance, but you have magic resistance from your ultimate. So your stats overall would be about the same. You wouldn't have movement speed under towers, but you're singed with Slipstream, so it's not like the worst thing in the world. In a team fight like this, you would have access to Leandry's and Rylai's double burn damage. It would end up just destroying Alistar. Pretty decent versus Riven, especially whenever she shields, because you still get the tick after, like, while the shield's burning, and while the shield, like, after it wears off, you still get more ticks. Yeah. And the Magic Pen and Flat AP, really, really good versus Orianna and Caitlyn, helps kill them faster. Really good versus Riven, too, because she doesn't really get a lot of health innately. I think in this build she has a cleaver, but that's it. So if you had went that build, you would have had about the same amount of stats, but a lot more team fight damage. Your tower pushing would have been weaker because of no ZZ'Rot, but this tower here, a lot of that was Rift Herald. Yeah, your ZZ'Rot helped push this tower here, but as far as I can tell, that's the only tower that's really been able to be helped push down by a ZZ'Rot, because this tower you just auto attacks.
It was also the tower, inhib tower as well, but yeah, no, looking back on it, I definitely think something else would have been useful.
Gotcha.
Or more useful.
And the Raptor Cloak did help here to catch Orianna, but I don't think that's enough to like justify having the whole entire ZZ'Rot, you know?
Yeah.
So let's play through this team fight. I'm gonna actually pause this. Jesus. Oh no, it's normal speed. Okay. So you go for the dive here. Your ultimate's not up yet. Oh wait, no, your ultimate. I think it's bugged. I can't tell. Was your ultimate up here? I think it's doing that stupid bug where... Okay, no, your ultimate was actually down here. Okay, so you initially go for Riven, but then she stuns you. Alistair, at this point, I would try and back out. After the
I was trying to
exhaust
run
goes
past
down.
Alistair in an unpredictable direction because I knew he was going to stun me no matter what.
Yeah, gotcha. As soon as you're not able to get a fling, I'd try and like back out, and that's something that's really hard to learn on Singed, I think, is knowing when exactly to get out of a fight. It's as important to know as when to go into a fight, because Singed is a champion that doesn't have escape options if he goes into a fight. So knowing when you can get in, when you can get out, is really, really important, I think. Teams kind of being silly here and diving, they should just be pushing the tower, in my opinion. At the same time, though, if that fight up here had been played properly, then they would have never wiped here, because they would have enemy team would have all been dead. You guys had Baron, so it's better to just to slow siege, I think, especially with you having. What?
I should have put a ZZ'Rot down before I went to engage and dive, because then that inhib tower would be down right now.
It would have killed the tower, but this would have been the same. Like in the long run, it wouldn't matter that much because your team still would have wiped and you still would have died. Well, they didn't wipe, I guess, but Jarvan still like kind of threw over here. Then I'm assuming they're gonna start. Okay, so. Oh wow, okay. So that actually is more beneficial for Riven to have that kill than Jin to get the kill, and the reason for that is because she gets gold from being behind. Whenever you're behind, gold is more useful to you than when you're ahead, because if you're ahead, your main advantage is from map pressure and levels.
Farming when behind is something that I'm used to trying to encourage my team to do because I'm singed, I stall games. So.
Yeah, I gotcha. This is fine here. I don't know if you needed to pop your ultimate if it's just Alistar by himself, though.
I think it was like a panic ult.
Gotcha.
I wasn't really thinking.
Definitely be more aware of the map and where people are. You knew that Riven was dead. Not like you don't really. If it's Alistar is the only person you can identify as being in front of you, and you don't know where anyone else is, just wait until you see someone to pop your ultimate, because you don't need it up to kill Alistar. That's a good goofling. This is fine. I think that it might have been more beneficial instead of running mid by yourself to just like push bot lane and get pressure there with your team, because that's where they went.
Well, if everyone's chasing me, I've got like Riven and Ori both chasing me at that point. And then it's a 3v, well, at least 3v3 or 4v3.
I gotcha, but well, ideally whenever they're chasing you, you want your team to be doing something, but the wave was up here. So even if they were chasing you over here, like if they had the wave, like they would have just gotten here at this point when Ori and Riven stopped chasing you, and it would have made a huge difference, you know?
Yeah.
One thing I like to do whenever I have a ZZ'Rot is to put it behind. Actually, I like what you're doing here. It's the same idea, but I like to put it behind. That way, they have the choice to either attack you or to attack the ZZ'Rot.
If I put it in front, then they can't actually kill it from the front. So I put it there as a defensive position, so
yeah, I gotcha.
They can't also attack it.
I think both positions have their merits. I just don't know if doing this by yourself is like the greatest thing in the world. I can see why, because yeah, they're getting the bot inhib tower, and it's giving the enemy team so much gold though. Like even with mid being exposed, maybe a better option with ZZ'Rot would have been just to put like the ZZ'Rot back here and have it slowly pressure the lane while you walk bottom with your team and siege that, or even like have the ZZ'Rot in bottom while you siege mid with your team. Just like type to them, come siege mid, ZZ'Rot pushes bot or something like that. With ZZ'Rot, there's a lot of coordination that you need to kind of dictate with your team to help them understand. Because yeah, like we're getting kills and we're doing damage to the base, but we're trading kills way too often here when we really shouldn't need to, and the enemy team is getting gold because of it. And Caitlyn's going to start to... What I'm assuming happens is Caitlyn starts to scale, or Yi starts to scale, and then Jhin becomes more and more irrelevant as the game goes on, because Jin's not very good late game, and Jhin is definitely not a character who can really deal with Master Yi jumping on him.
Yeah.
Why'd you cancel that teleport?
Because Alistar could knock me into... Oh, I don't know. Wait, could you rewind that back? I'm not sure why I cancelled that.
I will. Okay, so you're up in 3. I'm not sure what I'm assuming your ZZ'Rot is... It's not available because they got killed earlier.
Off and it's a 2v1, I don't really want to engage that.
Gotcha. Personally, I would have gone through with that TP because Riven's dead for like 6 seconds whenever you would have ended your channel. Yi was dead for 11. Caitlyn, don't even have to consider her death timer because it was so long. Then you could have just kind of body blocked for your team, because Orianna by herself is not enough to kill you even with Alistar. Then your team could have just focused this while Orianna focused you. Then you back off with your Warmogs, heal up. It's like you never even took damage. So definitely consider the enemy death timers whenever you make a play like that, because that could have been the inhibitor there, which could have probably changed the outcome of this game. Okay, so your next item, Righteous Glory. What's the logic behind Righteous Glory here?
I can run at the ADC or someone who's fed like Yi and goofling them, and then let my team kill them.
Okay.
And then it's... well, they won't have a carry. It's really strong for... well, kind of...
I like it. Like, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I just feel like you're not doing much damage. Almost feel like... on Singe, he seems like a character... I figure
that Fizz is doing a lot of the damage at the moment.
Yeah.
As long as I kind of heal and protect him when I'm around him.
It almost seems to me like you're going too heavy in the utility, though, because, like, IMO Singe is a character who... he really needs both. He can't really go too heavily into damage or utility either way. Because if he does it too hard either way, then he ends up having like not enough damage or not enough utility. Like if you have too much damage, then you can't survive because you don't have utility or tankiness. If you have too much utility and tankiness, then you're kind of useless because you don't do any damage, right? Like even when you're back here, I think do you put ZZ'Rot down here? Where's the ZZ'Rot at?
I'm not sure.
Wait, where is that? I'm gonna find it.
What I'm doing here is I'm just trying to stall as much as I can.
Yeah, trying to stall. I gotcha. So Caitlyn has no flash there. She has heal. The way that you're running through the team, if you had Riley's Leandries, then you could have done a lot of damage to them here. Did they kill Yi up here, I think?
If I had Riley's Leandries though, then they'd probably focus me down as well though.
So that's debatable because you had a pretty decent Courage of the Colossus shield too. You had how much? I guess that doesn't really help.
Like 1,000.
Yeah, about 1,800 HP from Courage of the Colossus, and like I said before, if you had gone that other build, then your stats would have been mostly the same, minus magic resistance. So you would have been about as tanky. I mean, Orianna would have been a bigger threat to you.
Yeah.
But she's not like trying to focus you. If Orianna spends time like focusing you down, then at the same time you're damaging all these people, and they end up killing Yi up here. So you could have just like kited them towards your team, and then your team could have like followed up. While they're following you through poison, Caitlyn ticks down, she ticks down, she ticks down. Riven, she ticks down, or Alistar's taking damage, Orianna's taking damage. And she doesn't have flash either. So like she has heal, yeah, but she would have been forced to use it if you had like ulted and walked up towards your team with Riley's Leandries just doing damage to them the whole time. Even he would have died. I assume that he died earlier, but he didn't. But if you had like walked on him even a little bit, then he would have died.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling like this game is a case of just itemizing too heavily in one specific direction, than not having enough of what you need to like really close the game out.
Yeah.
Also, Thornmail at this stage would have been amazing versus that Caitlyn who's just able to auto attack you for free. Would have stalled her healing with Alistar giving her heals from his.
I think my logic behind that was the fact that she didn't really have any lifesteal.
Yeah. She gets heals from Alistar's whatever the fuck his passive is that just like spams healing across his entire team. And if she has Warlords, which I'm assuming she does, then she gets lifesteal from that too, which is actually quite sizable. She can heal like 200 to 300 HP from one Warlord's auto attack, which is a lot in a late game team fight when every amount of clutch HP for an AD carry really matters. That's a really good catch on Riven. At this point, I would be spamming the Baron. But
they only have one turret left and there's two of them.
Yeah, I can see the logic behind pushing mid. I would just personally be paranoid with how things have been going and try to go for Baron instead, just because it's such a safe option. Then you can just run down and kill these. Wait, do you guys actually triple inhib them? Oh no, that's really bad.
I hope we do. Oh.
Okay, so I think this is important. There's no reason for you, I think, to leave your team here.
Yeah, I should with them.
Yeah, definitely. If you're going for the utility playstyle, then at least try and play for utility. What you're doing right now is you're playing your utility playstyle as more of an AP bruiser style, like this would be okay, almost justifiable if you had more damage, but you don't have the damage and you're going for the solo kill on Caitlyn when you really should be with your team and grouping with them. You actually using your utility build as a utility build and peeling your Jhin and making sure that you can get engages when you need with your RG, putting down your ZZ'Rot and pushing towers and inhibitors and all that juicy stuff. Because if Jhin had survived here, then you guys probably would have just ended the game. Yeah, especially considering that you just got the fling on Caitlyn there. If Jhin was alive after that fling on Caitlyn, then other factors, like they would have had to focus you less, focus him more, and then so many different things could have happened if that was played a little bit differently. It's really hard to kind of abstractly think about the different outcomes that could have happened in terms of that team fight, and any team fight really, but it's all maybes. It's all like little tiny like maybe things that add up to things that could have happened differently, you know?
Yeah.
Then with those deaths, I'm assuming they run to Baron, unless Fizz gets a kill here. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, she's very low.
I wasn't watching this, I don't think.
So they delay the Baron. No, if Caitlyn can probably still go to that Baron. I don't think she wants to though. Yeah, she recalls. Okay. I'm assuming this builds into an Abyssal mask.
Yeah, it's because Fizz is like really ahead. I want him to do more magic damage.
Gotcha. I agree with Abyssal mask as a last item, or even as a 5th item or a 4th item. I just
probably should have got Leandros first though.
Yeah, I think Leandros is more important, and I think with this build, as far as you're concerned, Abyssal Mask matters less. Yeah, Fizz is ahead, so it will help him there, but you'd have to like stay with Fizz in the fight, you know, to have him get the benefit. Because I don't think the range on it is pretty much the same range as Sunfire Cape. So it's like 800 range, maybe a little bit more. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's not like the huge range. I think that's what they wanted to change about it when they changed it from Abyssal Scepter or whatever. Again, kind of doing the same thing. You should stay with your team because they're just getting engaged on by Ori balls with Master Yi and things like that. Yeah, there's only no reason for you to go down here because they don't have an inhibitor up, and there's only one inhibitor left. If we just team up on this inhibitor, the odds are you guys can take it. But okay, so it's Alistar with the Ori ball on him, and then she Qs, or no, she W's the Ori ball. Unfortunate.
Yeah, I think I got a little greedy, thinking, ooh, minions, gold.
Yeah, gotcha. Just really, overall, really small things that add up to really unfortunate outcome. That was a good kill on Yi. I think right here, it would have been more beneficial overall to just wait. How did you guys lose this? Wait, did you win this game? I thought you lost this game.
I think we won.
Okay. Gotcha. That's fine. But still, regardless, I mean, it would have been a lot less of a throw fest, and you would have won like probably around 20 minutes. Let's go to 20 minutes. Okay. Yeah, 10k gold lead. I mean, compared to over here, this game really didn't have to go longer than 20 or 30 minutes, in my opinion, if the things were more optimized, like your itemization and your team fighting and all those things. You guys did a good job in closing the game out and managing to win, but a lot of that, like, a better enemy team would have really capitalized on the fact that Jin was getting caught and that you kind of left your team alone over here whenever you went over here. This could have easily been a win for the enemy team, at least the way I'm seeing it. It's good that you won, though. There's just a lot of little things, I think, that once you really grasp and perfect, that I don't think you'll have a problem getting a diamond after you change all these things.
Yeah.
If that's your goal anyways. But I think your early game is fine, even if you're like focusing more on the proxy side, because it's not, like I said, it's never a bad thing if you're able to proxy those first 3 waves. But don't be afraid to like try laning versus a character like Riven, because a character like her, if you're able to freeze it in front of your tower, then you can easily just destroy her entire laning phase. Because what you end up doing sometimes whenever you proxy versus a good top laner is you just kind of trade farm with them while having the ability to recall for free and then kind of outpace them. But versus a good top laner, then like they'll be farming perfectly under their tower because it's not like super difficult to farm perfectly under your tower. And the only thing that they'll have to trade for your entire proxy is a teleport cooldown, as opposed to if you're laning and you manage to get a lead, then you can make them blow the teleport cooldown. You can make them lose CS. You did make Riven lose CS because you got kills on her under her tower, but again, everything is kind of it's kind of everything can change just depending on the game. But with your play style and the way you play, I think if you change your itemization and you pay a little bit more attention to your team fights and your grouping, then you'll be able to make the diamond. I don't even think you need to pay that much attention to your team fights and grouping. I think if you just focus on your itemization, you'll be able to make it. But there are certain points in this game where if you're more map aware, then you would have been able to make better rotations. And did I just break this? I think I broke it. No? Okay. Or if you were paying more attention to your team and how they were playing, then you would have just been able to group and end the game.
Yeah.
And that is like, it's really easy for me to sit here and say that, work on your grouping, make sure that you're doing this, make sure you're doing that, and never let your team be alone whenever there's all these different things that you need to focus on in terms of being able to end a game. Like, you don't want to fall behind in farm, you don't want to like have your team get caught at the same time, but if you're not farming, then you just get outscaled by Riven, and there's a whole lot of different things. This game, it's kind of okay for you to fall behind in farm because you're so far ahead. Ideally, you want to be able to farm and group, and kind of the way that you want to do that is, let me, if I can, what's the button to change vision? Okay, so if I was to rewind here and look at it from this perspective, I mean, you have 2 choices here, right? You see Riven's farming top. You can choose to go top and counter farm her. You can group with your team. I think you made the right choice in grouping mid with your team. But if you were to have left your base and walk this way and just push the wave down and then rotate through the jungle, you'd have been able to do both. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I'm not sure if you actually did go top there or not, but okay, I think you just ran down mid. I think okay. So back here, as you're leaving base, you see Riven up here, right? She's clearing this wave. What that means is this wave is going to be pushing up, and your objective to push is way down here, and your team's back here, right? They're still wanting to go down mid. You have to consider the fact that you can probably run up here, and you don't even need to kill the whole wave. You can just kill like 1 or 2 minions out of this wave that's coming up, and let it start pushing back towards this. Because what you're doing by grouping immediately and then going is, 1, she's able to push this wave, and 2, it's going to be up here. You're not going to have lane pressure. There's absolutely zero incentive for Riven to come up here, and push the wave when she knows it's going to be up here no matter what, because she pushed it. That way, Riven has she doesn't ever need to leave this spot right here. And if there was a tower there, then it's a lot easier for her to sit there and be able to capitalize on an Alistar EQ or Ori Ball or something like that. Like right there, right? But if you had pushed that and then grouped, then she has to make the choice. Do I go top and farm the wave with the ZZ'Rot that's, shoving my tower in? Or do I group with my team and make a play? She decided to group with her team because she didn't have to make another choice. It was already given to her. So yeah, the ZZ'Rot takes the tower anyways. Like, that's good, but you kind of get what I'm saying, right? Because if you didn't have the ZZ'Rot, then that play would have forced her to make a really hard choice. Then you would have been able to keep up and farm and take the team fight, whatever. Like, you get it, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. There's a whole lot of different ways that you can like learn grouping and learn map awareness. What I like to do is every 2 seconds, I trained myself a long time ago, like 2 or 3 years ago. What am I season? Holy shit, almost 3 years ago. Almost 3 years ago, to look at my map every 2 seconds. And the way I did that was just conditioning. I tied a rubber band to my wrist, and it had a little timer on Google set to...
I heard about this. You someone else who's coaching.
Yeah. And I just basically, whenever I play League now, no matter what, I'm looking at my map every 2 or 3 seconds, and basically just forces me to have map awareness, because during this, every 2 or 3 seconds, you glance at your map for like half a second, odds are you're going to see like someone pop out of Fog of War, you'll see someone like, move across the map, someone through the jungle, someone walks over a ward, just any amount of things that happen on the map that
I think my current strategy is to, like, when I'm actually on a good day and focused, I'll play from my minimap, and I'll actually be looking at that most of the time. Because
how do you define good day, though?
Good day is in focused. I don't know, just knowing what I'm supposed to be doing rather than going on autopilot. Or like not going on autopilot.
Okay. Autopilot. If you find yourself zoning out in the middle of a game, you have to kind of try and remember. This is how I tried to avoid autopilot. Is always consider that at any possible moment, even if you're ahead, you don't want autopilot, because your enemy players, they're not like stupid, right? They're still trying to win the game, and unless they're like in feeding because they're mad, they're still gonna try and come back no matter what. And it's always a risk if you autopilot, because you give them way more opportunities to come back into a game. And kind of having that mindset, at least for me, it helps with paying attention to every single decision I make in a game. And I'm not talking about like decision like, oh, what do I buy here? Where do I go now? Like every single decision that you make in terms of like where you walk, like how you're clicking, how quickly you buy, like things like that. You never want to slow down when you're in the middle of a game. You want to be in the game. You want to minimize all of your distractions in your environment. If you have to like put your phone on vibrate, close like Skype, put on do not disturb, just anything you can. Like, I know some people, they like close their windows, turn off their lights, just whatever they can to like focus on the game and minimize distractions. Because if you're zoning out, then you need to find ways to focus on it. Like if the reason you're zoning out is a different reason, then go ahead and feel free to describe it. Maybe we can try and focus on that and see exactly what it is. But I don't know. Am I going the right direction here with why you're zoning out?
Sort of. I kind of just my mind goes on a tangent, I kind of like think about certain things, or what if I'm doing this, and then it's just like not even relevant to the game, and it just I don't know.
Give me an example.
So I don't know. I'm pushing a tower, and I've got I don't know like an item, and I'm thinking, I wonder if I could get something like ZZ'Rot here, and I wonder if this would be.
So experimenting. Okay, yeah, that's what you were saying before.
So it's just constantly kind of thinking about things in the game that aren't actually relevant to the current situation.
Okay.
Just like philosophically thinking about League of Legends, I guess.
Gotcha. How long have you been playing League?
Well, I haven't played it too frequently, but I have played it since Season 3.
Okay.
But I haven't actually... Well, it's just been kind of on and off. Like, I haven't played it for like a couple of years at one point, and then I played it like once a week or something at some point. And now, kind of more recently, I've started climbing. So I actually used to be Silver 3.
That's a good climb.
Before June. Yeah.
So, what I'm kind of thinking, not to interrupt you or anything, sorry if you were talking.
Oh, no, I'm finished.
So here's kind of what I'm thinking, right? I know a lot of like newer players. I know you're not like a new player since you've been playing since Season 3, but you said you don't play every day and you take skips here or there, and that's fine. The best way to get rid of like those thoughts about experimentation and what if kind of things is if you play more, then you kind of have the experience with those outcomes because you've already done the experimentation. Like you have more of an idea as to what would happen if you did do those things.
I think it's definitely my experimentation that's kind of got me this far in kind of figuring out certain things to do.
Sure. There's nothing wrong with that, but if it's becoming a distraction, then it probably should stop. And if it's like ruining your efficiency, because then you probably should try and focus on cookie cutter builds with little adaptation. I want to say cookie cutter build because I don't want you to follow one single build every single game when there's something better you can do. But that's kind of why people, whenever they talk about builds, they talk about like core builds and then like luxury items. I think
I guess it's like a trade-off between like learning and conservation.
What do you mean?
Like conserving a certain play style, or learning and trying to adapt it.
Okay, I see.
And finding a good sweet spot in between that.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I think your playstyle is fine. I don't think you need to learn a different playstyle. I just think that you need to adapt the one that you have to itemize a little bit better and group a little bit more efficiently and CS a little bit more efficiently too, because after a certain point you kind of fell really far behind in that. But with a little bit of change, like kind of what I was describing before with the wave pushing to the top lane, then you wouldn't have even fallen behind there. Trying to like see where you really start to fall behind. That's not too bad, I guess. She's ahead by 40 or 50. So.
I tend to fall behind a lot. I don't know why, but whenever I get their first tower, I always fall behind, like on CS. Maybe that's because of my wave management, but one solution that I came up with was to not destroy their tower if I'm sufficiently putting them behind with enough CS.
Yeah.
And I know that no one else is going to get a tower anytime soon.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that's like viable or not.
So with Tower First Blood,
I know it gives 800 gold for a team. But...
Yeah, and you're right. I think with Tower First Blood being a thing, that 800 or however much, I think it's like 600 actually. I think they nerfed it a bit. I don't know. I really don't know specifically the number. That's probably really bad. But I don't think that it's worth skipping Tower First Blood to be able to push a CS lead, because pushing that CS lead is only really important to gain advantages in a situation where you have the ability to kill them. And if you can't solo kill a Riven, then it's kind of pointless to have a CS lead, because, or to really focus on abandoning your Tower First Blood to force a CS lead, because if you can't solo kill her, then what's the point of having the CS lead, because she's just going to farm anyways whenever you push the wave in. Kind of like what we're seeing here. You were ahead by 20, but now you're ahead by 5 or 6. So instead, I think taking the Tower First Blood is better, as long as you're able to, like here, after pushing this tower, what I would do is just run top and then take the wave. I think that's what you do. No, you're running towards Dragon?
Yeah, we see a kill on Yi.
Towards Yi. Okay, so Still fine. Personally, I would have ran top a while ago. I would have ran top after that kill. You still have time to run top.
I kind of wanted to defend that tower at that point, I think, because I saw like 4 of them down there.
Oh, the bot tower.
And Riven wasn't necessarily pushing top. Now she is though.
Gotcha. Yeah. So even just doing this, like, yeah, we're getting the bot tower, but they probably would have gotten the bot tower without you because Alistar and Kill ended up recalling, and then you miss like all of this CS up here.
Yeah, I think Fizz kind of goes up there and wastes his teleport for it.
Yeah.
But oh well.
It's just a lot of really small things that you have to always be vigilant with it. You have to always be vigilant with your CS to make sure that you are getting it when you need it. Also, whenever you're walking back to lane, like say you recall right now, right? Fizz isn't here. Just imagine Fizz being gone. Okay.
Okay.
You're walking back to lane. Riven's over here forming this wave. It's gonna push back to you, but it's over here, and you just recall to your base.
Yep.
What do you do?
In what sense?
What's your next action on the map? Where do you go? What do you do if the wave's over
well,
here and Riven's farming it and you just recalled?
Assuming my wave is in its current position at the moment.
Your wave is right there and Riven's farming it, and
Okay,
you just
Riven's
recalled the
farming
base here.
Well, I go group with my team because she's now on her own and it's going to be a 5v4 at best.
That would depend on your team's posturing. If your team is posturing for Dragon, then yeah, it's fine to group with them. If they're posturing for a tower, it's fine to group with them. But if neither of those things are happening, then the better option here would be to walk, hop, and farm. And I can see why you wouldn't want to do that initially because the wave is so far away. But I think what's important to remember is on the way there, you can still kill this Krug camp and get 70 gold for the big one,
right,
and another 70 gold for killing all the little ones, so 140 gold.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of CS, and then you get over here whenever Riven's done pushing the wave, you kill that wave. Then you can look to group if your team is wanting to push objectives. You have to kind of like basically kill monsters, kill minions, look for team fights, kill monsters, kill minions, look for team fights. Like in kind of like that. You have to go back and forth a lot, and you have to like switch your brain like over and over just to be able to, okay, now I'm farming, now I'm grouping. Okay, grouping didn't work. I go farm now. Okay, farming, I'm done farming, I group again. Okay, grouping didn't work, I go farm again. Now I'm grouping again. Oh, we get a team fight. Do I go back and farm? Do I push objectives? If you can push objectives, push objectives. At that point, farming is not important. But farming should be your interim activity in between grouping. You shouldn't just like group and group and group and group and group. And just like that, you shouldn't farm and farm and farm and farm and farm. On Singed specifically, you need to find a balance. Because he needs to farm, but he can't split push. He needs a team fight, but he also needs to farm.
Yeah, especially with that, like with my proxy play style, in like the first 10 minutes of the game, I have a 30-second period to kind of just do something for free.
Mm-hmm.
And I sometimes, if I'm actually thinking about it, I will go do like a camp or something, and I'll like go mid or something. But I guess I should be thinking about this in different situations as well.
Mm-hmm. And
like running to lane or something.
So I guess we can go back here and kind of watch that. Oh, you're not behind the tower. I'm waiting for you to get behind the tower in proxy. So over here, I remember this right here. We talked about this. So after you clear this wave, I think you have a bit more mana because of your Doran's Ring. And then I want to show this from Riven's perspective. Okay. So you have how much mana? You have 77 mana. Okay. Look at this from Riven's perspective, right? If you're Riven right now, are you scared for your mid laner? Because you could pop out from here. She doesn't have any mana. You could probably force a flash.
Ooh,
do you think she's thinking that you can do that?
Yeah,
probably, right?
definitely.
Yeah? Even though you don't have your like enough mana for your, I guess you do if you wait and regen with your Doran's Ring. By the time you get up here, you probably have mana for your ultimate.
No, I definitely would have had enough. I have like 100 mana or something at this point. Or
and
I would
then
have when I get to that lane.
After you do that, you just wait to get, what is it, like 60, 80 mana for your fling. You force a fling on her, force her flash, maybe even her barrier.
I think I have ghost as well, don't I?
Yeah, you do. So you could have used that also. It just, there's a whole lot of things you can do here. Instead of just going right here and farming the next wave and not doing much. But it's not a bad thing to farm that wave either at the same time. There's just, it's a decision that you need to make in the middle of the game. Like, do I go for this wave here, or is it better to gank mid and force summoners? And if I go mid and force summoners, am I in danger of, losing CS? You wouldn't lose too much CS. Kind of like
Ultimately, I don't actually really care too much about falling behind in lane because I am actually proxy, and if they chase me, then they get behind in lane.
Yeah.
So I guess if I'm going mid more often, and even if like Riven's getting fed at this point, as long as she's not actually destroying my tower, that would be very strong.
I actually just made a video about this where I played like this versus an Renekton player, and because this is a cannon wave,
solo Renekton only.
It takes her a much longer time to kill this cannon coming up, because by the time this wave dies, this wave over here and this wave over here will meet right here. And it takes her a lot longer to kill the cannon, which gives you a lot more time to go mid and fuck around with Orianna, and then walk back top. By the time you get done like messing around with Orianna, you can walk back top, and the wave will be around here, or you might lose like one melee minion, because it takes her a longer time to kill the cannon.
Right, okay.
Something to consider there. Just with your positioning, being able to survive back here and farm, always consider, can not just take jungle camps, but can I gank mid? Ganking mid, I think, is really important. It's a lot easier to do from top side, I think, to gank the enemy, because you can go from top here and just walk around and then gank from here. But doing it from bot side, you just you only have that one path. You can go through there, but they're probably not going to step up that far, so that's your only path. From going from top side, you can like gank through here, you can gank through here, you can also gank through there. I mean, it's just, that's arbitrary, but the idea is still the same, right?
Yeah.
Trying to think of what else. Yeah,
another thing I like to do, by the way, is I gank, depending on the person, depending on if they have too much CC or something, I'll actually gank through their turret.
Okay.
And the idea behind that, especially if I'm red
like
side,
through here.
Yeah, through there. So that basically means they have no escape route now. And if they do try to escape through one of the sides, then I have time to chase them down.
Gotcha. And I think that's fine if you know you can get away with it. Definitely a lot more risky.
Especially if I'm more tanky or I've got Righteous Glory, especially, because then I can just run right through it.
Yeah.
I only do it sometimes, though.
Try for a few games. Just building AP Bruiser with like the Rally's Leandries and a Dead Man's and like Abyssal Mask and all that stuff. See if you like it. I mean, I like it a lot right now. I'm liking the build. And if you don't, then that's fine. I just feel like it's going to take some adjusting to get used to.
Yeah, I've been doing it recently, and I've been losing a ton.
Oh, really? I gotcha.
Yeah. So, like, Rylai's Leandries. Maybe I should go for, like, Rylai's and then a tanky item and then Leandries.
So that's the thing, right?
It's really hard to adjust to, because I die a lot thinking I'm more tanky than I actually am.
Yeah. The most important thing is you have the Rylai's first, then you can either go Deadman's Plate or Leandries. That's what I like to do a lot. Or you can even go like Rylai's Abyssal Mask Leandries, depending on what their team comp is. Or you can just go Rylai's Leandries and then tank items. Just depends. The important part is that your first 3 items consist of Rylai's Leandries and a tank item. Your first 3, in that, with your second 2 items being interchangeable.
Yeah.
And then once you're used to it, you can start practicing Rylai's Leandries and then get used to being a little bit less tanky but doing more damage. And then you're really playing around your Courage of the Colossus cooldown to survive team fights with that build.
There's another thing. There's an item that I saw in pro builds that a lot of Singed players or professional people who are playing Singed actually build. And it was Spirit Visage.
Yeah. So
why is that becoming popular now?
I think right now Spirit Visage, the decision between Spirit Visage and Abyssal Mask is kind of up to the player. Spirit Visage is better for Singed himself to be a little bit more tankier. It gives more health than Abyssal Mask. It gives less damage, though. Abyssal Mask is more of a damage-oriented item. So Spirit Visage, if you really need to survive burst damage, you get more HP from Spirit Visage. But if you're okay with dealing with burst damage and you just want that little bit of extra damage for you and your team to like kind of push your team fight over the edge, then I think Abyssal Mask is better. Spirit Visage is 100 gold cheaper too, if I'm not mistaken.
Did I say that again, sorry?
Spirit Visage is 100 gold cheaper, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe.
I think it is. It's 2,800. I think Abyssal Mask is 2,900.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you have any other questions? I think that we've covered a lot. in this coaching session. If you work on your items and you work on your positional awareness and you work on your team fight awareness, I think you shouldn't have any problems really climbing.
Yeah. One last question.
Sure.
Or two maybe. If they have an AD top or an AD jungler and an AP or opposite, how do I deal with that in my itemization?
Repeat that.
How do I deal with an AP and an AD top laner and jungler? Because if I build like a magic resist item against like an AP laner, and then someone like Yi or Lee or something comes ganks me, I'm really vulnerable.
Well, so I'll just give a example team comp. You're playing versus like fucking Lissandra top lane, Yi mid lane, and Orianna or sorry, Yi jungle. What would the mid laner be?
Orianna.
Okay. So it's 2 AP and then 2 AD if you consider Yi and any other AD carry. Support kind of negligible. So in that situation, what I would do is go for Merc Treads first. Like my very, very first item, I'd go for Merc Treads. And then just use the movement speed from Merc Treads to get back to lane faster and push the lane while being a little bit tankier. Then use the movement speed to get around and just proxy. And if I get ganked by Yeet, use my ultimate to survive. It's going to be harder to proxy early game versus Yi with no armor items because he has physical damage. And if it really comes down to it, you can just push the wave and then recall. And then run back to lane because you have tier 2 boots super early. You'll only lose like 2 or 3 CS in the tower, then take the 3 CS left and push one more wave, and then maybe go around and push one more wave and then recall. It just depends. But usually the way I deal with it is going Merc Treads first. Some Singed players like to go what's that fucking Spectre's Cowl? I think that Spectre's Cowl is too large of a gold investment to really justify getting that early if it doesn't build into a core item. But just rushing your Merc Treads absolute first item can probably be really helpful with that.
Yeah. Last question then. Songs for listening to while playing Singed.
I don't listen to songs.
Damn. Really?
I will on stream, but if I'm playing by myself, I don't listen to music. I find it to be a distraction.
Okay.
And if I have to, then I listen to Eurobeat or my own Spotify playlist. Which, if you want, I can give it to you, but it's not really a Eurobeat playlist. So.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, I think that's it.
Awesome. Sounds good. See you, man.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.